You're listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.
All right, how you fellas doing?
Good.
I'm here with Shannon and Mike from MedDrip, New Braunfels.
Yep.
Right? And I think the first thing we can do is acknowledge the elephant in the room, and that is Shannon's beautiful beard.
As is yours.
Beautiful. When I saw you walking up, I got a little ashamed of what I'm walking around with. So that's a great product that you're putting out right now.
Thanks, man.
So you guys are with MedDrip, and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I originally from Arizona. I moved out here in West Texas when I was a teenager. Went to college, got a volunteer firefighter, EMT. Kind of worked my way up through the ranks, and came out to Central Texas and working out here EMS as EMT paramedic, and
In the New Braunfels area?
No. East of there, county 911 system, for about 12 years or so, and kind of got a little burned out with that, and which led us to this.
Well, it's got to be a lot of, especially like the EMS kind of thing, that's got to be a lot of high pace, adrenaline kind of stuff that'll really wear on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over the years it does.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Same.
You were in the EMT and EMS kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm a paramedic.
Okay, awesome.
For about a decade now.
Okay.
So, all 911. I do critical care now.
Okay.
And so this has been an outlet for us.
Okay.
Individually.
Well, when I first saw you guys, I had gone to a Cole Wetzel concert. I was telling you, Shannon, and my brother had invited us. I guess he had tickets for the year before, and we ended up going, and we had never seen him before. So I really enjoyed him. So if you're cool with some parental advisory, Cole's a hell of an artist to kind of follow and watch. But so I went onto his Instagram, and I saw you guys had given them like some IV drips, I guess prior to the show.
Yeah,
to hydrate.
A couple hours before, yeah.
And so I saw that, and I was like, first of all, it was kind of yellowish. And so being Cole Wetzel, I was like, man, what is in that bag? But then I started following you guys, and I was like, I was really interested in what you guys were doing, because you were doing, and I've seen IV drips before where people kind of have like almost like a food truck style, and they drive around, they park, and people come to them. But you guys actually go to people into their houses or any location that they're looking for. What is y'all's range on that?
So we service Austin, New Braunfels, San Antonio, pretty much the I-35 corridor.
Okay. So if you're in that area, call you guys up. You guys can come out and do an IV drip.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if we're not in that corridor, if you have bachelor party or wherever you're out of the area, as long as there's enough notice, we can hunt you down. So.
Yeah. And so what started the MedDrip business, I guess? Was it a brainstorm or a brain drizzle, or what made you guys jump on that?
I think it might have been, yeah. I would say it was more like over a course of a couple months of it, just kind of realizing our potential as paramedics and the scope of practice that we have compared to what we're currently doing and the future of EMS and where it's going.
How long have y'all been running MedDrip?
A solid a year now.
Okay.
I think the last September is when we kind of really put everything online.
Was it kind of hard to get started in the middle of like the pandemic?
Yes, it was very difficult getting started. People wouldn't return phone calls, or they would take days to return phone calls, emails. Nobody was answering phones. Everybody was at home, so it was a little difficult. I think it took 60, 90 days longer than it should have to kind of get things moving. But that's okay, because it gave us time to kind of concentrate and think about the smaller details as we're approaching that time, so we don't miss anything. But
You have to change anything in your marketing to try and get people to loosen up a little bit?
We did a little bit. I feel like that overall, most of our marketing has been education, because a lot of people just really don't know what we do.
Education for us too.
And it has been, a lot of our marketing has been kind of a grassroots effort from other people telling other people and word of mouth to kind of let people know what we do.
Yeah, especially during, I can see it being difficult for people trying to let loose of that concern of having some, it's technically a stranger come into my house during the pandemic, and a lot of, it may have been a little looser down here than in some other states, but, being able to, there's almost a flip side to that coin in the sense that you guys being able to come to somebody's house, and provide that service to them when they're not feeling good, when they need some vitamins, or, somebody who's a cancer patient, or somebody that really needs to rehydrate and really get some vitamins in them quickly, to be able to have you guys come over and provide that service. So it's kind of like you really want people to open up their door to you, but at the same time, there's that concern,
Right, and that was a silver lining for us. Because nobody wanted to go out, nobody wanted to do anything, they wanted to stay home. That was kind of our way in. And it took a few people to start trusting, and then that word started spreading, like you said, word of mouth.
I feel like I feel like as paramedics, we also given our background and education, we can really communicate to people from different backgrounds and kind of alleviate some of that stress that might be associated with inviting someone into your home during COVID. We also follow CDC guidelines, so.
It's very parallel to EMS, what we're doing. We just took that idea and just simplified it to really basic things that work, things that people need, to make it accessible, without the concern of having, ambulances and,
the flashing lights and sirens,
more of the discreet.
Right.
And I guess you guys being in EMS, can you close that door over there? That plane got super loud. We're by the airport, by the way, so if anybody wants to swing by, you can fly to Boulevard Airport. We're right next to it. But I guess in the work that y'all did previously, there was you were already coming into people's homes, so you already knew what's the word I'm looking for? The etiquette, as far as coming into somebody's house and not treating it like it's your own, being respectful for their spaces. So that probably was something that benefited you guys as well.
It transitioned very well.
It was a pretty easy transition. The only difficult part was realizing that in EMS, they're your patient. And we went from having a patient showing up on ambulance, when they call 911, to now having a customer, a client. So you're like, oh, this is a little different way of processing things and thinking and practicing medicine at their home and keeping things clean and, nice. And so it was a little bit of a transition mentally, but as far as it was just dove right in.
So if somebody calls you guys up and y'all come over, what can they expect when you first come to their house? Or you said you follow CDC guidelines, and then what happens from there? You come in the house, you greet them, you get them set up, and then or you get them comfortable, and then what happens from there?
We introduce ourselves, kind of find out where they want the IV set up, and then we do a patient assessment. We kind of overlook the patient and kind of find out what they need, and then we kind of base our treatment.
Same thing as you went to like a doctor's office. You go in and visit, and what's your complaint? And like you said, we'll assess them and
based upon our protocols.
Right. Yeah. Make sure they're comfortable. Like, where do you want to hang out? If you want to, if you're sick, you can lay in bed, or if you want to hang out on the couch and watch TV, wherever you want to be. I think that's the biggest help when they're not in the hospital environment or doctor's office environment. They don't have what they call that white coat syndrome, where they're just nervous, so we're really relaxed and chill, which makes them really relaxed and chill.
And I guess it's something like, if they want to do it on their own back porch and take a nap or something.
Absolutely, yeah. Back porch, rivers,
Bed.
wherever.
Oh, really?
Beds, wherever they want to be.
That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So when you, I guess when you guys show up, do y'all do the assessment there, or do they do the assessment before you guys even come out? Like, how do you put the concoctions together, or whatever you're putting together for the IV?
Well, we do everything's done there. They don't get anything done prior, unless they have something with their physician. If they have, a certain, disease or ailment or something like that, and their doctor wants them to have certain medications or something, we can interact that way. But it's basically a clean slate. We come in, assess what they got going on. They tell us their symptoms and what they're having, and then we kind of mix our bags and our vitamins kind of according to how they're feeling.
Okay.
So
it's kind of you can kind of literally mix whatever you need to on site.
Yeah, and beyond the vitamins, we have other treatments as well. We can treat minor and moderate pain. We can treat nausea and vomiting. Migraines, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What else can you help with? I mean,
Besides the basic hydrations and nutritional supplements and helping with.
So if somebody's low on a certain vitamin or something, rather than taking a little pill or supplement that way, they can do it.
They can get a micronutrient test.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're working on newer stuff now too. So
With the MedDrip, is it only reactive, or can you like proactively? Hey, I'm going to have a marathon. I'm going to be running next week.
Both.
You want to get prepared for that kind of thing.
Right.
So not only sick people you can do for just.
Yeah, we've done athletes actually.
Yeah.
Exactly for that reason. Doing marathons and stuff. So they. You can be reactive or proactive. Or bachelor party, right. Those are always the reactive.
Those are the reactive ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw y'all are with, I guess y'all have been following or going with the football team out of San Marcos.
Yeah, Texas State University, yeah.
That's pretty neat. That's it's funny because when you're competing on a level like that, any little thing that's going to benefit your team will help. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting.
We feel like it has this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a cool, interesting experience for both of us, but it also... we get a lot of feedback from the players, and they, reducing a cramping, and they're able to run longer and faster and work out longer and have quicker recovery times. And, so we're really getting good feedback from them. Hopefully they'll call us back next year.
Yeah. Or we could, other teams.
Yeah, other teams too. We're always open for that as well. Yeah. Other teams, other schools as well. We want to work with everybody, just grow, and provide something that really isn't available to the public without having to go through all the motions of, insurance and doctor's offices and visits and,
sitting in the ER for 4 to 6 hours.
Right.
Because that's how it is these days.
Yeah.
I've done a handful of podcasts, and somehow dehydration always comes up. And, I think we ignore it so much, especially in young kids. They're out running all summer long, and then they have their 2 weeks, of football practice before the season starts, and nobody's drinking water like they should. So to be able to provide that, for either a high school or a college team or even a pro team, that way when they're out there performing and they're not cramping in the fourth quarter and they're not having those issues that a lot of times you see these athletes have, that's just something that could have been prevented pretty easy,
No doubt. They can prevent that.
All mountain bikers, even recreational sport people also. I mean, we pretty much, anybody that drinks water.
Yeah.
Can utilize
We
our
are
services.
chronically dehydrated, everybody is.
Yeah.
Very few people drink enough water daily to meet those needs.
Well, like I told you earlier, I'm diabetic, so I literally pee all day long. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I sit there and I'm peeing, and I think to myself, I'm like, I'm losing so much fluid right now. And then on top of that, in the summertime, you're sweating, you're losing all that water in that way. And then in addition to the frequent urination, I can't drink enough water. There's been a couple of times where it's a little embarrassing to say, but where I've been to the beach, right? We're hanging out, it's hot, it's in the middle of the summer, and I'm literally chugging a gallon of water the entire time, and I'm still cramping. And it's like, I haven't stopped drinking this water. I didn't drink any alcohol. I haven't had any Cokes. It's just been this water, and I'm still cramping. And so that may be something to hit
Good for you
guys
for
up
recognizing that, though.
Yeah. It's happened so many times, and she can attest to it. She's seen me where I got to pull over the truck and get out because I'm cramping in my ribs or something like that. And that's like a severe case, But so that may be
the part where you're yelling at me. When you're cramping.
Well, you're my wife. It's my job to yell at you. So, typically, let's say somebody who's just your average Joe Blow, they want to get rehydrated, and they come to you guys. How long does the process take? Do y'all take all y'all's trash out of there, or how does that work? It's not really biohazardous or anything, right? It's just
we take all the trash.
Okay, y'all take it all out,
and the sharps. And usually it takes, depending on the IV gauge that we get in the patients, usually from 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Not at all.
That's a good
From
nap.
start to finish.
Start to finish.
That's a good nap right
From
there.
us, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And also, I guess it depends on how much activity you're doing and whatnot. But typically, how long does a good IV drip last after you've had it done? And you're just kind of going to work, you're going home, you're not doing anything strenuous. Is this something you got to get done weekly, or is it?
We have weekly patients.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
It just really ranges. We listen to our patients and what they feel. And we ask them questions all the time. We'll see them a week or two later, like, "Hey, how'd that do for you?" And a lot of them on the low end, like a week. On the high end, I've heard people say they felt the effects for up to 4 weeks.
Oh, really?
Of just feeling good.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
And that's part of the vitamins and everything else y'all put into the drip.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So who do y'all find yourselves typically serving right now? I guess the football team, of course, but is it people just trying to rehydrate, or are there sick patients, or it just runs a gambit?
All demographics.
Everybody. Yeah, I was kind of, when we were starting this, we wanted to focus, like, hey, what's our demographic? What's our, target market for doing this? And we're like, well, okay, we'll kind of focus on this one thing. I wanted to, and then he wanted to focus on when everything like, cool, let's hit those two avenues. And then when we started going, we're like, oh, wow, this is too narrow. We need to widen
Beyond
this.
just like a normal niche. It's like we've just figured out that there's so many different avenues we can take this, because everybody is chronically dehydrated, usually from all the choices that we have to drink outside of just regular water, and in our appetite and our sedentary lifestyles that we all have, and even people who exercise regularly still dehydrate.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I did a podcast with my sister-in-law a while back, and it was not pretty. I tell you guys what. Her nephew owns a gym in San Antonio. It's called Heavy Metal Fitness, and they had an event there. They wanted somebody to barbecue burgers and sell hot dogs and stuff like that. So we went to go do that, and my wife tells me, "Hey, take something to drink, take something to eat, make sure you're doing what you need to do." And the problem is, once you kind of get into it, right? Once you're cooking and people are coming and buying things, and you're trying to provide that service to them, you kind of lose track of time. And before you know it, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're in the middle of the street in a hot day, no shade, and you've been standing over a grill for 4 hours. And I tell you what, it was a godsend that she was there because of her knowledge base. But at the same time, it was kind of like, it was not good. I felt like fainting, super dehydrated. I think I'd stopped sweating already. And, my mentality isn't, hey, I feel bad, let me go sit down for a little bit. My mentality is, hey, I'm fine, I'm all right.
Right.
And I do that long enough to where, I'm in deep water and I can't swim anymore.
Or you leave and you go hide, which is even worse.
That was the other thing, is I actually did walk off and go somewhere else under a tree.
Where nobody can find you. Not good.
You're right.
There was a homeless guy nearby, so he would have called somebody. But she did a good job of trying to get some water in me. And but I tell you what, it was one of those things where, had I used a service like you guys before, and probably after, because I probably needed it after, I even drove home, which was stupid. Because I remember being super lightheaded and feeling a little faint. But by the time I got home, took a shower, got some water in me, got in the AC and kind of cooled off. It probably took about 6 hours, but I started feeling better. But that, one big thing for me is just the hydration part of it. Because like you said, we're constantly dehydrated and we're constantly needing that to be replenished like that. And people don't think about it. I mean, it affects your organs. It affects the way your body operates.
Everything.
And we take that for granted. And until days like that where we're in a pinch and all of a sudden, we've got no alternative. But it definitely was scary.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of what we can do now for you, is when you're doing this out here and cooking on the grill, we'll just show up and you can still cook.
Oh, you can do it just on site there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's the whole point, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You wouldn't have to go hide in the tree. They probably would have told you to go hide in the tree while the IV's going, but yeah.
Hey, y'all would have gotten to meet her overly attractive sister too, so that would have been cool. Nice. But so how many people do y'all employ? How big is MedDrip right now?
Well, 6.
not including us. I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, roughly, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of PRN, something
yeah.
they're doing their own, make their own schedule, because they still have full-time jobs, and we just need some help, some relief on that end, so Mike and I can kind of work on some of the business aspect of things,
Okay.
We were pretty busy this summer, so.
Oh yeah.
What is one thing that I guess you guys enjoy about this job, other than the obvious? Are y'all seeing people that y'all typically wouldn't, and been able to help those kinds of people, or?
I feel like our background is helping people.
Yeah.
I mean, and this kind of transitions also like as a paramedic into this field, what we're doing. And also we don't have, supervisors micromanaging us. We don't have,
There's no politics.
there's no politicking.
There's nothing.
We're just here.
Yeah, it's easy. It's very simple. And the stress of having your own business doesn't even get close to the stress of running, an EMS.
Yeah.
So to be able to have that is a godsend in itself, really.
And we still get to help people.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you said 6 employees. Do y'all do any sort of events or anything like that where people can come see y'all?
As many as we can.
Yep.
Okay. Do y'all have what is y'all's Instagram handle? I know y'all have Instagram, and I've been to your webpage, but what are those?
MedDrip _IV _therapy is our Instagram.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what the little @ symbol is for the Facebook one, but
I think it's the
just
same.
look it up.
Is it the same?
Same
Yeah.
thing.
That's awesome. So
What are your hours or days? Is
Yeah.
it like 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Somebody can call
Yeah,
you?
we're 7 days a week.
24
Just
hours a day?
Regular
No,
paramedics.
one of these days. One of these days.
y'all got to sleep at some point, huh?
Right. Well, we kind of changed our hours after the summer because Mike and I it was 7 days a week. We were running 12, 15 hours a day nonstop.
Wow.
And just, helping anybody that needed help. We tried to squeeze everybody in. So towards the end of the summer there, we're like, okay, let's narrow our hours down a little bit. So we're typical business hours during the week and shortened on the weekends a little bit to give us a break. But, we've gone outside those hours. It's not a big deal if you call, or get online and write us a message and see if, we can work outside. There's always room to work.
So that'd be go into your website, right? You have
we have
to go to your
website.
website, and then you fill out the information, or do you guys prefer a phone call on that?
Well, there's 2 ways to do it. You can call us, or the website also has a online booking.
Okay.
So you can do that's with our hours, obviously. But if there's like a group event or something, outside of our hours by an hour or two, it's not a big deal. We can make it work as long as we get contacted via email or, some source of communication.
Yeah.
We can reach out.
What's the largest group you guys will do, or have y'all not reached that yet?
Well, we regularly did 15
To 20
to
at a
20
time.
at a time.
Okay.
With Texas State and, other wedding parties or, bachelor parties or whatever.
And that's
So y'all
not
can
hard.
handle a pretty large group.
Oh, yeah.
then.
Yeah.
That's
We can do
awesome.
quite a few. As long as they've got the time, and they're not in a rush, then we can get everybody taken care of.
If you're doing a group that big, is that maybe 3 hours or something to run through that process?
I guess it depends on how many medics are there. We were pretty efficient with the football team. We were getting done
2 hours
in
tops.
under 2
Oh,
hours.
really?
Yeah. But some of the other ones, there's, we had a bachelor party not too long ago. I think it was like 10 or 12 people, and some were cooking breakfast and, moving around and doing their thing, going outside, smoking cigarettes and moving around. Some are still waking up. So you kind of have to, we
cater
let
to
them,
their time frame.
let them do that thing. Like, oh, you're hungry, go ahead, get yourself some food. We'll start an IV in this guy and check his vitals and do that kind of thing. And kind of takes a longer that way, but.
I guess you guys got a system down when you started doing the Texas State football team, huh?
We did. I think all of it was we had an idea and then we had to implement it, and that was a hurdle in itself. And then it became natural for us though as soon as we started getting. And as we trained employees, we realized that Shannon did certain things some way, and then I did things another way. So when we show up, but overall, it's been helpful. And
You guys have to haul all your own equipment and everything when y'all travel with those guys?
we do. So we have like little jump bags, just like
Okay.
EMS, yeah, with a little pole attached to it. So, and everybody I carry extra supplies in my truck occasionally for the ones that are not heat associated, that can deteriorate. But most of the time we just show up, everything's ready to go. It's real ambulatory, just like EMS. We show up, knock on your door, say what's up. And
That's
then-
cool.
Yeah.
Y'all can try again with any basketball teams or
Yeah,
their basketball
whoever.
team or their volleyball team?
Yeah, that's the goal, and it's really easy. They make it really easy on us. Like you said, we have our own gear. A lot of the football stuff, we have to bring lots of stuff, 7, 8 IV poles and a couple cases of fluids and, tons of catheters and stuff. So they have like trunks that they fill up with our gear and then they just ship it off on an 18-wheeler.
Oh, okay. So they haul it for you then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's perfect, man.
But otherwise, yeah, like you said, you have everything you need with you. So
Yeah.
you're just like your own little mobile unit, and you just take care of, make sure you're stocked up, and go wherever you need to.
That's cool. And then just to remind everybody, you said the I-35 corridor, right, Austin?
Yeah.
San,
Yeah.
down
So-
to San Antonio.
San Antonio to Austin, yeah.
Absolutely. And anywhere between Wimberley to Seguin,
Yeah, Canyon Lake. We got a lot of clients out at Canyon
Bernie.
Lake. Bulverde, we have a few
Bulverde,
here.
Dripping Springs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
When I was looking at your website, I noticed that you guys kind of already have packages. So if somebody doesn't really know much about the MedDrip,
And of course, you like the expensive package.
I did. So for me, I'm like, I don't know what I need, but you guys had like almost a menu to pick from. So once you get to they have the online booking option, so they go on there, so you kind of know what you're going into. And then once you get to their home or wherever you're going, and you do an assessment, can you continue to add on or subtract stuff once you see like maybe you need this package or maybe we need to add on this? You're able to add and subtract some stuff?
Absolutely. So when we show up, we'll bust our bag out, we'll set it up, and then usually after our patient assessment, we kind of go off, because sometimes people might think that they need this, but
Right.
they actually might need something else. So we kind of go off of that.
I just assumed I needed the highest amount of everything.
Yeah, we are part salesmen now on top of paramedics. So that was kind
gotta
of
be, right?
that was something to do. But we also, our patient advocacy comes first. So we definitely want to make sure people are treated, because obviously the IVs sell themselves. I mean, when people get our IVs and they feel better, and they just listen to me incessantly talk like for an hour and a half. And then if they can deal with that, usually they feel better. And then, I just tell them leave a review, because, I mean, like I said, the product sells itself, because people do feel better after they get this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of have to have a menu because nobody. I think we need something to buy or purchase, an item, a product. So when you sell that online, giving people options is what they want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what they'll get. Like he said,
Right.
You may want the most expensive thing, and nothing in that is what you need. It's too much money. You don't need to spend that. This is what you need. Or since we make everything there in front of you, everything is very fluid. No
Yeah.
pun intended. It's we can work.
Or pun intended.
Or pun intended, exactly. So
That's
menu
good.
is just kind of a basic thing for you to get,
Gotcha.
the ideas.
It's like a familiarity tool, I guess, for people that
Right.
go on to
Sure.
see.
That's something that benefits me as
Yeah.
a visual
Right.
person.
We didn't
As
really want to
everybody.
put too much, information on there initially, because like most people get scroll
You didn't want to
fatigue.
overwhelm them or
Yeah, people don't even spend that much time on websites. It's usually the way I do it is I go online, I look up, and I look on Google reviews or and then go from there. And so that's kind of like what we wanted to implement in terms of making sure people get to see us.
Yeah. So speaking of price-wise, what range are we looking at?
It ranges from on the low end 100 to a couple hundred. I mean, really, the packages have their set prices. Well, they change too because of product availability and whatnot. But really, at the end of the day, I think pretty much anybody that's sick, not really feeling, other than just the guys that are hangover or whatever, the sick ones. I mean, it's under $250 a
Okay.
person. I mean, depends on what we treat.
Yeah.
The more things that we treat you, the more expensive it's going to get. But I mean, you compare our prices to what you would find in a hospital. It's a fraction of the cost. They're charging you thousands of dollars. We're just charging you, $25 for Zofran. And $100 for an IV. So those costs are not even anywhere in the same ballpark.
Her nephew that owns the gym, we had a conversation one time about price, to the gym, and he made a great point. He said, "You spend so much money on all kinds of other things. Why wouldn't you spend that money on your health?" Mm-hmm. And when you look at it through that lens, it makes so much sense that, somebody might sit there and go, well, that price might be a little bit more than what I'm wanting to pay. But when you think about it in the sense that you're benefiting your health, and it's like you'd spend $100 and something going to the movies and having popcorn
At a bar.
or at a bar.
Right.
At a bar you're probably spending like $500. Or you're taking her, but that's
Shots for everyone.
Top shelf.
that's one of the things that people they fail to consider is they look at a price and they get sticker shock on certain things, and it's like, well, think about what it's doing for you. It's just extremely important to take, and this is coming from a fat out of shape guy who's diabetic, right? But it's like, it's extremely important to take those steps to, especially in the summertime. For me, it'd be something that I'm definitely going to be using when it starts getting warmer or even here pretty soon because I've had diarrhea all week. But anyway, that's another story. But
We should have brought you a bag.
but that's definitely something that I think people need to really consider, because like we talked about earlier, they overlook the fact that they're dehydrated and they, their pee's almost brown, and it's like that's not good for your organs. That's not good for a lot of what's going on inside you. And we just take it for granted. And, she's got a bad habit of going, well, I drink a bottle of water today. I'm good. And it's like, no, you're not.
And I'm a soccer player. I play 2 games on Sunday, so I'm constantly dehydrated after the games. I'm like, what did I do? Why didn't I drink water?
So there's times when she'll come home and she's just beet red. And you can tell, now she's stubborn as hell. So I can't tell her to do anything. But she'll come home and you can tell she's not, feeling very well. The sun's beat her up. She's dehydrated. And then she's sucking on a bottle like that, and it's like, that's not going to be enough.
No.
But let's say there's something like an emergency or something. How quick can you guys get out to somebody, as far as, let's say she came home and was not in good shape after a day of soccer? Is it something where you guys can come that day, or is it something you guys can come, a couple of days from then? Or
It's totally random, really.
Okay.
We do take call-ins. We do take call-ins, and we try to get there as fast as we can if we're available, depending on how far you are from us. We try to send if we have other medics close working, we try to send the closest person to you. So it just depends.
yeah. I know I was talking to my buddy here, and he's in the construction field, and I mean, we've been talking about athletes and stuff, but even just people working construction, that's something that would really benefit those guys, because they're outdoors all friggin' day long, and you guys are from the area. Y'all know how hot it gets here, and it's brutal. When it's your job to be out there from 5 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, you've been sweating all day, and he's told me before, he's guys on his team are swapping shirts 2 or 3 times a day, just because they're sweating so much. So anything like that as an employer that can provide to their staff, I mean, that's.
We'll come out to the job site.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Sit in their truck. Yeah, they can sit in their truck and get
We've
it.
had a couple like that.
Yep.
Sit in the vehicle, and while we assess them and get them fluids.
Really, that's awesome. Well, the availability, I mean, when we talk price too, but I mean, the availability of you guys being able to show up anywhere, and provide that service to where you're not losing time on work, and you're not having to, hell, when we go to the doctor's office, it's at 2 o'clock and they're not seeing you till 3:15.
Exactly.
And you literally spent half the day at a doctor's appointment, for a checkup. Or something like this, it's, you're not feeling well, you're dehydrated. You guys can show up at the job site and take care of somebody and get them back on their feet, instead of them spending half a day trying to.
Well, what you just said earlier about spending money on your health, what's it worth? Are you going to go work all day or work out, or go drink and suffer for 3 or 4 days, or would you rather get better now?
Yeah.
A lot of people, like we get a lot of people moving in from out of state, and they're, like you're saying, they're out working construction, and they call us. We've had a few that just moved here this summer. They've never been in Texas before, and they just moved in the summer. And we get to them like, wow, you're really doing bad. You should, you're pretty close to actually having to go to the hospital, and they're, sick for days and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And we come in there, and an hour later, they're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I haven't felt this good in 2 or 3 days. And people are apprehensive about spending a couple $100, but, at that point where he was almost going to go to the hospital, you would have spent, $5,000-$10,000,
Absolutely.
to get that fixed. And it just was a couple $100 out of your pocket to
Yeah,
get you right back on your feet and back to work.
She went to I guess it's been a couple of years now. We hadn't been in the hospital in a while, but she went a couple of years. She wasn't feeling very well, so we took her, and just just the ER visit.
It's like
and,
$500 just for the walking in the
Just to
ER.
go in, yeah.
And then I think we ended up getting a
on
bill
your
for like
insurance,
Yeah, that's with
$2,600.
insurance.
Yeah, so we do. I wanted to, while we're on the subject, we do treat flu and COVID.
Okay.
Yes, and
Okay.
people have gotten alleviation from that. So instead of going to the ER, like you said, taking time out of your day, and going to the ER and sitting in the ER, going to your PCP's office and waiting to be seen, we could show up and basically provide everything that they're going to give you to treat you for the flu.
Oh,
at
really?
home.
Yeah, well, it's reducing exposure too. You're staying home.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
You're
I'm
staying comfortable while you're waiting.
Right. Nobody
and
wants to
getting
go anywhere
better.
anyway.
And
You're
the
sick.
staff at the ERs, are like totally for us. We've had doctors recommend calling us up. Like
We've had a
while
few.
they're- ER doctors. They're like, hey, call these guys.
You know, I used to work at a jail a long time ago, and working there kind of turned me into a bit of a germaphobe. So she's always constantly, like even this weekend, you know, being upset stomach, she's you need to go to the doctor, and I avoid that literally like the plague. I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the ER. You know, we ended up getting shots, right? We got the COVID shots, and I was so pissed because going to get the shot, which was at a mall, which was weird in itself. But I told her, I said, you know, if I'm going to get COVID, I'm going to get it here waiting in line to get this damn shot.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know? And so hearing that you guys can come by and provide some medication for the flu and for even COVID, I mean, honestly, I would prefer that over going to the ER, you know? And on top of that, there's so many people going in there for that to begin with. They probably don't really want you in there if you're not in extreme case, you know. So to be able to have that and have that service come to your house,
That's worth it.
Now, a
yeah,
little
it is.
disclaimer though, if you do need an ambulance, you do need a hospital.
Sure. We will
absolutely
recommend
do, yeah.
you
Oh,
call
no.
911.
Do not call us if you have to go to the hospital.
Right. No, this is kind of
We
a-
will recommend too. Like, okay, like you're beyond us. We do need to get an ambulance here. We'll call an ambulance. You know, whatever. We'll work with EMS. We'll get an ambulance there. We'll talk to the medic and give them our patient assessment, and then they can take over and take them off. So
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if it's early stages and you're just feeling a little run down, I mean, that's the way to go. You know, rather than going and getting the medication, like you said, at the doctor's office or you know even the hospital. My mom fell recently and broke her humerus, which I find not very humorous. You see the pun? I did a pun. Anyway,
that was punny.
that was terrible. I'm sorry, Mom. But my sister was like, it was $500. She's got insurance. It was $500 just to see her in the ER, and that's not on top. That's not on top of the bill you get after you leave the ER.
Right.
You know, like I said, the one we got after she had left, it was like $2,600. And where if you guys can come in, you know, provide that service for a couple $100, and you feel better. I mean, the proof's
you don't
in
have
the
to
pudding.
go.
Yeah.
It's
You
no
don't go
brainer,
nowhere.
really. And speaking of your mom having a broken arm too, not only do we reduce exposure, we also reduce any trauma because you're not being handled. You know, you're not having to move from your bed and transferred to a stretcher into the ambulance, and ambulance into the ER to another bed. You know, there's constant transferring of that patient over. You know, and not only that, there's information that's being missed as that patient's being transferred over. So, you know, not only do we reduce exposure by keeping you home, we reduce that potential trauma, especially for the elderly.
Yeah.
And we also do not send bills in the mail to you later.
Right.
Afterwards either.
We don't chase
it-
you down.
Whatever you pay, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
When you
We
leave
work with
my house,
everybody.
yeah. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we leave your house, that's it. You're
That's
done
it.
paying. You know, no bad credit. You know,
Yeah.
nothing that's going to go on your credit score or anything.
You know, my mother-in-law, her mom had cancer. She passed away a few years back. But I'd imagine for somebody who's sick from cancer, especially these days with you know the virus and everything going around. I mean, being able to have you come into their house, be clean about it, and rehydrate that patient. I mean, there's you might be too cheap.
Yeah, same with
That's-
hospice patients too. I mean, it alleviates suffering.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. My mother just recently passed from cancer too, and I just sat there and watched, and it just, you know, all I wanted to do was give her, because that's what she needed. She needed fluids, she needed nutrition, something, you know, and when you're that sick, you don't eat, you don't drink, nothing,
Yeah.
you know, and of course, my hands are tied, I couldn't do anything about it, you know, we didn't have the business then, and don't have the capability of doing that outside of, our scope of practice, so, you know,
But now we
that's
do.
important, right, exactly, and that's kind of one of the motivator to do this.
And I'm assuming it's a yes, but like if there's something, if somebody wanted to gift your services to somebody, y'all can handle that as well as far as having
Absolutely.
somebody else,
Yeah.
I guess, pay for it and
We've
handle
had
it.
several people do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they like, hey, can you go see my friend or my uncle or my mom or whoever? I'll pay for it. You know, and we'll bill you email. We'll just send you an invoice. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. 'Cause,
Technology.
Right.
super easy.
you know, I'd love to do one for like Tia Gracie or somebody. You know, she doesn't. She's been. I guess she's in remission now, huh?
Yeah.
But you know, still, she doesn't like to leave her house. She's a little bit older, and she's been dealing with cancer as well. So to be able to provide that for her, you know, in the comfort of her home, and man, I love the idea. I think what you guys are doing. I mean, like I said, when I first came across you, I was like, I was like, they're putting some shit in Cole Wetzel's arm, you know. But the more I follow you, the more I see y'all's posts and I see the things y'all provide and the services. Man, I love it, and I think it's a great idea, and I hope you guys get a ton of business, and I hope you guys are around a long time, because, you know, we're kind of getting into this little weird area where people are, you know, we're being constantly told, stay home, don't go anywhere, don't do anything, you know, and that's not the greatest idea. I don't think it is. But at the same time, you know, I know that I'm a little germaphobe, and I don't want to go to the Texas Med Clinic, and I don't want to sign in, and I don't want to sit in the office in there, you know. I get a little weird when that stuff kind of happens, and I get that you guys aren't going to reset a bone or anything like that, but a lot of times, you know, even from being sick this weekend with my stomach, I noticed that taking emergency, just kind of drinking that was kind of settling my stomach, and I feel better today. You know, so I'd imagine, you know, something like what you guys provide, putting that fluid back in me, you know, from being sick for the past 2 days, with any sort of medication that you guys would recommend. I mean, that probably.
It's not only helping you, you know, physically. It's a morale booster as well.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Your attitude also is to do with your health. So, you know, you feel sick, you get the IV, you feel better. That kind of helps you promote to drink more, to get some food in, and, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, getting sick or getting an illness, it's inevitable eventually.
Sure.
So I think just preparing your body to be able to fight it when it comes on is probably the best thing to do. So
yeah, there's no cure. We're not curing anything.
Right.
It's just we're giving your body the
best
tools
opportunity
it needs.
to fight it.
Right. It's 50%.
Or
I tell
anything.
some of my customers, it's 50% us, 50% you. You know what I mean? We can only do so much. You know, you've got to supplement with the proper nutrition and continue to drink. You know, and don't just think because you got an IV. That's it. I'm done. I don't have to drink. You know.
But I'm sure that's going to be my mentality toward it. You know,
A lot of people are though.
Yeah.
I just had a MedDrip IV, and I'm ready to run through a wall. You know?
Get you all wired up.
But no, you know, it's funny because there's been several times where she and I argue a lot when we're not feeling well, and I think a lot of people do. But I think a lot of it is, you know, when our blood sugar gets out of whack, or when we're dehydrated and you're hungry and you're nauseous and you don't have, you know, maybe you need some B12, maybe you need some vitamin D or something, because realistically, you know, outside of the kind of construction business my buddy's in, you know, I sit in an office all day. You know, the only sun I get is, you know, in between breaks where I walk down the parking lot and back. And so am I really getting vitamin D? I'm probably not, you know. So I try and supplement it with, you know, a vitamin or whatever. But, you know, I think that for the most part, if you're not seeing a doctor getting blood work done regularly, it's safe to say that you don't have the vitamins that you need to have.
Absolutely.
You know?
Most people are walking around in a deficit.
Yeah.
100%. Between diet, proper nutrition, you know, like I said previously, a lot of people are just, you know, not exercising. There's a lot of health issues that people are carrying around every day that it extrapolates over time.
Yeah.
So most people are chronically dehydrated. Yeah. And that's, and this helps a lot.
Well, it's even better about this is than taking supplements that you talk about taking emergency.
Yeah.
You know, you only retain 40 to 60% of those vitamins that you take orally. That's why when you take like a multivitamin, you pee really bright yellow. You know, it's because you're really just flushing most of that out. So people take supplements really for nothing. I mean, they do work and they do help, but with IVs, you have 100% retention of all your vitamins as soon as it hits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most of the problem with vitamins, I think, is in the vitamin business world is solubility. And that's what their claim to fame is with vitamins, like USANA and different high-end vitamin products like that, is solubility. Because a lot of times people take vitamins and your body doesn't absorb it. It's excreted through your kidneys or whatnot. With IVs, it's a little bit different. It bypasses that and goes straight into your bloodstream, and your body takes up everything it needs and excretes it from there. So
most people feel it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an idiot, but I would assume that it's the same process when you're drinking Gatorade or water. You're not absorbing it completely.
Yeah, sort of.
Right, well, you talk about taking oral medication or oral,
like if you're just straight up drinking.
Right, same thing, Gatorade. You only absorb so much of it.
Yeah, and everybody's absorption is different based upon your own body's physiology, age, weight.
Oh, really?
How much food did you eat before? You know, empty stomach.
Okay, I didn't
different
realize
factors.
that.
Yeah, so there's so many factors and variables that go into how we treat. So that's the reason why we've noticed is that it's just easier for us to show up and then assess our patient and then make a decision based upon that.
So then, in that case, I mean, once the IV is starting to drip into your bloodstream, I guess I'd imagine it's a matter of minutes before you would start feeling the benefits of those vitamins.
Yeah, most people even taste the vitamins or smell them.
They're right
Oh,
away.
really?
They smell or taste
I
right
smell
away.
the vitamins when I
Really?
Yeah, even though they're not putting them in their mouth, it's kind of strange.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, normally a lot of people, typically we tell people like the worse you feel before, the better you feel after. So I mean, sometimes we will get through half a bag, 500 milliliters, and they're like, oh man, I already feel so much better, or I'm finally getting an appetite, or that headache is finally gone, or the nausea I feel relief, in some fashion. So it's really tell me pretty quick. Not everybody's like that. It's subjective. Everybody's different. Like you said, Mike said, is physiology and everything else plays a factor, plays a role in that.
Do you guys have an age limit as far as like little kids? Do y'all provide the same service for them that you would for an adult, or do y'all have a cutoff for?
It's 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anything lower than that, I think we have to get medical approval.
Right.
Medical
15.
directive.
It's already kind of case by case anyway with the 15-year-olds.
Okay.
That's something you get an athlete. This football player is 15. He works out every day and stuff like that. It'd be great. Now, if you have a 15-year-old that's smaller frame, tiny, not so healthy, you probably won't mess
I
with
get
that stuff. But yeah, range from 15 to 115. Everybody applies.
Okay. That's
Everybody
awesome.
with veins, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody they would get
We'll
a van.
cannulate your dog.
That's awesome. So, do you guys do this stuff regularly yourselves as far as taking IV drips, or
I do.
What do you recommend for like just a daily? Let's say somebody that's not deficient in anything just wants to rehydrate. What would you recommend them take as far as additional supplements into the IV?
Our Myers cocktail is pretty base.
Myers cocktail.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got the best, most popular kind of bag.
What's
for
in
us.
that one exactly?
Vitamin C, magnesium, calcium, B1, 2, 3, 5, 12,
Oh wow.
zinc, a little bit of everything.
So you have it's got quite a punch to it then.
It can. It depends. Like I said, if you're feeling pretty bad afterwards,
That's all right. No.
if you're feeling pretty bad afterwards, then it'll probably work a little better. But if you're normal every day, normally hydrated, you may not feel anything. It's kind of like I said, subjective. But he sticks me sometimes. Sometimes I get him.
It's the worse you feel, the better you will. That's pretty much our slogan.
That's a great slogan. So just to kind of remind people, it's important to take your health seriously. Again, coming from a fat, out of shape guy, but it's funny because the older I get, the more it's prevalent in my life where I go, you know what, I need to start doing things differently, and I need to start taking, slowly as your youth starts to fade, things start hurting worse, things don't work as well. I start feeling, when I'm dehydrated, I start feeling my hands right away. And typically, I work on a computer, so right away I can kind of feel things cramping and, fingers locking up, and then I'll feel it in my, like below my knee. I'll start getting cramps in my calves and that kind of stuff. But again, I don't feel like I can ever drink enough fluid. I feel like I'm always, like you said, in a deficit, and I'm always trying to catch up. So, I mean, being able to get something in my bloodstream right away, I mean, that's a...
It's good that you recognize those signs too. A lot of people don't recognize, and they go days and days and days. They don't realize, that this pain or this discomfort or this cramp is not supposed to be here. There's a reason why your body's talking to you.
It's like they
you gotta
perpetuate. It's like driving your car with the low engine light on.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh God, I feel attacked right now.
But
It'll last
Maybe
forever.
today.
That oil change.
well, what's dumb is, and I'm guilty of it too, and I may be one of the worst people ever, but you get used to these things, right? You get used to a pain, or you get used to cramping, and you go, oh, it's just something that happens. And it doesn't have to happen.
No.
If you address it, if you acknowledge it and you address it, and you can get rid of it. So I mean, but I think a lot of times we just kind of ignore it, and we say that's just the way I am now, and it doesn't have to be.
Sounds like you need an IV.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll hook up, and I know she would want one, and
Yeah.
I'll get one. And
Definitely.
People are scared, and as far as that's concerned, there's no reason to be scared of needles. Nobody likes needles. Everybody's scared of them. Everybody, doesn't want to go through all that because this kind of has that negative connotation. It's like, when you see this equipment, you're used to seeing it at your doctor's office, you're used to seeing it at the hospital. It's not the same. I mean, the worst, people are worried about the pain of the needle. Like, all it is like a pinch. It's just a little pinch. If you can handle that, you're handling the cramps and you're handling all this body pain. This is nothing compared to what you're handling, what you're dealing with now. So,
And if it gets bad enough, they're going to stick you with a needle anyway when you get to
right.
the
And they'll probably stick you with bigger needles and more of them, depending on how bad you are.
Yeah, because let's all be honest, paramedics are better.
Yes, they are.
And sticking IVs.
Exactly. You definitely wanted a paramedic stick your IV.
Hey, she has some cousins that are in love with the firefighters and paramedics, so I'll have to get y'all's numbers so we can pass it along.
That's Michael. That's all Michael.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. I have teacher friends.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to mess with those teacher friends. They drink too much.
We just had the firemen and the policemen at the school the other day for career day.
Oh, no, I bet that went well.
Oh, yeah. I'll take the kids.
Well, this is the only time we have all these volunteers to do something.
Yeah. And everybody was dressed up for some reason. I don't know. It was
Hey,
weird.
and some of them are pretty cute. I'm not going to lie.
It's funny.
I always told her, well, I'll tell that story another time. That's inappropriate. But
Nothing is too far with this.
Yeah.
But I know somebody like her aunt. I would love to have you guys come out, and we'll have to coordinate that.
Sure.
Maybe. I guess we'd have to talk to her because she's
You want to talk to her, yeah.
she's an ex-Marine and she's pretty private too. So she's kind of
Nothing wrong with that, and that's what we are too. We follow HIPAA laws. We don't discuss anything about our clients to anybody else. We don't there's some pictures of people, but they give us permission to use their photos to put online, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's really private. We we respect all that, and we're it's not an issue. And if not her, we can do you two guys, and then we can do another podcast and have a follow up on her.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to do something like that. Definitely. As far as like, I know we kind of talked about assessments earlier, but is there any sort of, and I'm kind of like equating it to like a doctor's visit, is there some sort of pre-paperwork that people need to fill out? And is that something, I'm just, right now I'm thinking, assuming, hey, we did one for her aunt. Is there something where we need to go fill out her information and maybe some medical history? Or
No, so we show up on scene with an iPad,
Okay.
and we just do an EPCR like that. So as the IV's flown, we just take time and get all that information and put all our vitals and everything that we've taken and our assessment and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So
We just have a couple documents to sign. There's really not. It's very simple. It takes probably 5 minutes to sign in.
it's very fluid.
you need to get a pun in before we're done.
I'm not as punny as you guys.
No, you're not at all. You're
got
not
some
funny
time.
either.
We got some time.
I wanted to. Is you guys? I'm assuming you are busier during the summertime. But if somebody, like I said earlier, we talked about needing an emergency, or if somebody wanted to put y'all on like a regular schedule, do y'all do that as well, to where we can say, hey, every so many months or every so many weeks, you guys come out? Do y'all have any patients like that, or is it just kind of a case by case?
It is. It's case by case, but we also have a membership program that offers
Okay.
some benefits to people that get us regularly.
Yeah, that
We
would
do have
probably be
regular-
ideal.
Right.
Yeah.
Get on a schedule.
Right. We have a few weeklies that do every week.
Okay.
And they do it themselves. They schedule themselves. Sometimes one of our regulars in San Marcos, she'll schedule herself weekly, and then all of a sudden she'll be out of town doing something, and she'll just leave it off. And then next thing you know, a week or two later, she pop back up again. So,
Some people want Shannon and his glorious beard to show up.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Y'all need to go to their Instagram and see Shannon's beard. I know you've posted a couple of pictures with the football team, so that's when I first saw it. I was like, good Lord, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
looking for
wizardly.
beard oil sponsors too.
Yeah. I
I'm
find,
waiting for him to use the beard oil I bought him. And
I've got some at the house, and this is my problem. I'm a short, fat guy with no neck. So, and tell me if I'm wrong. Do you use beard oil?
you're not wrong with that.
I use
So,
all kinds of different stuff.
does it get it on your shirt, and will it ruin your shirt?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really noticed. I
much are
don't
you
like
using?
over.
I have
Yeah.
no neck.
Well, how much are you using?
I mean, I don't have much of an. I mean, my stuff's on my shirt too, but I don't really. It's really not. You don't need a whole
It
lot.
used to be
It's-
longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one time I saw a bird fly out of it.
There was a nest of sparrows in there.
I would, if I was a bird, that's where I would live. It's beautiful. I've been using some, I think it's called Diesel or something, Henley's in San Antonio. It's ridiculous. I love going to Henley's. They're really nice people there. And Esme is the lady who's been doing my beard for a while.
It's a men's grooming.
It's a men's
shop.
grooming shop, but it's a little expensive for a guy with no hair.
Right?
You know, so it's kind of
$50 for what?
It's kind of funny because it's like, but you know what? It's me spoiling myself, right? But
He's the girl of the relationship.
I go there and they do your ears, you know, they wax, and then they'll do your nose if you want, and they do the beard trim, and I don't have anything.
I
on
like to
top.
be spoiled too.
Yeah?
It's nice.
Pedicures and
It's nice every now and then. I've been
I'd
asking
rather
her.
stay home and watch like football on TV.
She's the I guess sports beer drinker, and I'm the pina colada and 90 Day Fiance
Me
guy.
too, bro. Like, mimosas and margaritas.
Well, come to my house one day. We'll watch
Little
90 Day
I get
Fiance.
made fun of a lot for like having all the chicks drinks, you know, all the time. Like,
So do I. So
is Gabe.
when we go places, they always hand me the beer and her like
Right.
the margarita.
it's so
And I'm like,
embarrassing.
no, that's mine. She's the
Same
one
thing happens.
in the dirty glass. So,
That's funny.
but I like flavor, so that's my problem.
Absolutely. Well, and the people don't realize that when you get those chicks drinks, they have more alcohol in them. Yeah.
Oh, did they really? I didn't even think about that. I just
Well,
wouldn't-
not all of them, but you know, for most of them, they do. You know.
Are you married? Are you dating?
I have a girlfriend. Yeah.
Does she eat or take the Cool Whip or whipped cream off the top of it?
No, your cherries from
She takes all the good stuff.
So I'm in the same situation you are. My girlfriend likes beer, and I'd like the girly drinks, and they do the same thing. They'll try to hand me the beer, Lone Star, but whatever, you know. I'm like, sorry, that's my my tie.
So when are we double dating?
Whenever, man.
Whenever you want your girlfriend to pick up some shitty habits, we'll double date because she's full of them.
Well, I want to keep her sweet. I don't want to.
Oh, then maybe
no.
not.
Yeah, let me
I don't
know.
need that bad influence.
Whenever you want her to turn into a mean girl, let her know I got a whole bunch of them she can hang out
She
with.
doesn't have a mean bone in her, man. So
What?
she's-
She got any
she's-
sisters?
She does. I'm married now.
Well, cousins?
Shannon looks at me. He's like, "They're all married."
I saw Mike. He perked up a little bit too. So he was like, "How many she got?"
Mike is single and he's a good-looking guy. So you know.
Mike's very good
Very,
looking.
yes.
Yeah, and he's in the infant stage of a beard. So
Oh, I have to shave mine. I'm like
He's
Heaven
got the-
Almighty.
Oh,
Like,
really?
This is like 2 days.
Oh.
Like, you
He's got that Slovakian or the Russian thing going on.
no, I like it. It looks clean. This is kind of like
I have
you know
to,
what?
yeah.
And then Shannon's beard is it's
we
just
both can't
beautiful.
be bearded. I mean, it would just be weird.
I think
It'd be
you
like
should go
ZZ
there.
Top or something. Yeah, I just like, so I keep mine short. I like
There you
it.
go.
You know, it's funny because different hairstyles, right? Different eras. And my dad, when he was younger, they used to, I guess it was 70s or something. But there's a picture of him and mom, and he's got pork chops. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
You know, where the
Little chops,
yeah,
yeah.
they come down, and they used to call them mutton
I
chops.
used to have those in high school too.
Yeah, those were sweet, man. But
Sweet bell bottoms on.
yeah, it's too late for me, you know. Every now and then I get this wild hair and I get stupid and I threaten to shave my beard off.
Don't you dare.
Hey, I know.
I know.
Don't you dare.
I know I'd be miserable
don't
afterwards,
do
so
it.
I'm not gonna do it. I always joke with the beard lady. I keep telling her she finds me. I think she finds me amusing,
Annoying?
but she would probably say annoying. But I always tell her, I was like, "Hey, do you guys wax bodies?" And she's like, "No, why?"
Just
I'm
not
like-
Brazilian.
And I'm like, "I need a waxing from my belly button to my shoulder blades, but the long way." And
The short way hurts.
I was like, "Just let me know how much that's gonna cost." But she won't do it.
God.
She won't do
Oh
it.
God, that's funny. Yeah, that's going to be expensive. There's an
Hey,
upcharge for that.
Like we talked about, you gotta take care of yourself. So spend a little money.
Absolutely.
But man, I tell you what, I appreciate you guys coming by. It's been a lot of fun, and I'd love to do another one with you guys.
Absolutely.
We'll get together
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we'll do a drip, and I do want to talk.
Definitely, I want to do a drip.
I want to talk to her aunt too, and see if she'd be comfortable with having you guys come by because she looks great. She's doing well. You know, she was at a wedding all night last night too.
Her daughter.
Her daughter got
cousin.
married, and so that was nice. We had a good time. You know, she's a good woman, and I love her to death. You know, so anything we can do for her to kind of help her feel a little bit better. You know, she was there for us in a time when we weren't very strong, and you know, we were weak, so she was strong. So it'd be nice to be there for her when we're a little stronger, and maybe she's not as
sure.
strong as she could be. So. we'll talk to her and we'll get something lined out. Don't cry. Don't cry.
I thought you said she was mean.
She's mean. Wait, let her get riled up. She'll start scratching everybody here in a minute. She likes to tell you stuff that hurts your feelings for a long time. So
Just you.
yeah,
Just you.
yeah. So I'm blessed. Get back, boys. She's mine. Quit looking, Mike. Quit looking, Mike.
For now. For now.
Slide his
now.
card over.
But definitely. So again, let's tell everybody one more time where they can find you guys online or on
website.
the website, all that good stuff, phone numbers.
www.meddrip.iv.com.
Yeah.
And then the Instagram is the similar.
MedDrip,
Yeah, MedDrip IV Therapy, but the
2 Ds.
Yeah, 2 Ds.
2 Ds.
The hash or underscore in between
Okay.
the words. MedDrip IV Therapy.
I'm pretty sure if you just type in MedDrip, though.
Yeah, it
start
should pop
pumping up.
up. Yeah.
And then they can follow you guys, see what you are up to on Instagram.
yeah.
That's typically where I see y'all, and y'all do some pretty cool stuff and go to some pretty cool places. So
We're trying to get more cool places and more cool stuff. So
I
anybody out there that has anything for us, let us know.
I hope y'all guys get plenty, and I hope people start realizing how important y'all services are, because I think it's pretty critical. Not to go too far down a rabbit hole or anything, but I've said this before, but we lost my brother a couple years ago, and part of the reason, in my mind, we don't know for certain what exactly it was, but part of the reason in my mind was he needed blood thinner medication, which he didn't have, and he had been sick for 2 weeks of vomiting and diarrhea. So in my ignorance, I think his blood was probably too thick. He needed the thinner, and he was probably extremely dehydrated from throwing up and having diarrhea for 2 weeks. And so they think he may have had a heart attack. But in my mind, I'm not saying that it would have fixed him, to not be dehydrated, but it certainly didn't help, So, I mean, if you've already got some medical issues and things of that nature, it is important to stay hydrated, and it's important to get those vitamin supplements, especially as we get older. We're probably not getting everything that we need, and at the same time, we're probably not retaining as much as what we're taking in. Like you guys said earlier, taking it orally, we're not absorbing all of it. In our heads, we're like, well, I took my pill like I was supposed to, but at the same time, what is your body really doing with that medication that you're taking orally? So to be able to utilize something like what you guys provide, it's something I think that is crucial and that people need to be more aware of and be able to just take better care of themselves in that sense. Something simple as, a $200 IV drip and keeps you out of the hospital. That's a no-brainer. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of one of the reasons why we want to move into other things. We're actually, let me back up, we're getting a new medical director too, and he's really interested in doing other things as well. So hopefully by the new year, we'll have another, a wide variety of protocols to start helping people with other areas like this, beyond just hydration. And so we're really excited to have him on board. So hopefully next time we sit down with you guys, we'll have a whole new
list of protocols and treatments that we can provide.
And that'd be awesome. Yeah. Let me know when you guys get
talking about
up
cardiac monitors and everything.
And also that's one thing, having the cardiac monitor and stuff. And also to go off of what you're saying about your brother also is we're all 911 paramedics, and some of us are nurses too that work for us. So when we show up, sometimes it's good to have a second set of eyes, because sometimes us showing up might save someone's life too. And outside of just providing, because we are healthcare providers also. So
that's great, man. I appreciate you guys swinging by.
Yeah,
Y'all have anything else you want to share real quick?
I don't know. Mike's phone number is 512.
Mike's single, and me and Shannon like foo-foo drinks.
Your picture will be posted.
So whenever we do that double date, I'll make sure
we're just some island boys trying to make it.
That's funny.
He's got a beautiful voice too.
Bing bong.
That's funny. Yes, yeah, you should sing. You should be a singer. Yeah.
Hey, cut one real quick.
All right. 1 2 1 2.
Mic check.
That's a dreamy voice, Mike. Babe, get back.
I was working on it today in the mirror.
Put you on one of those 1888 numbers or whatever, 1-800.
Oh yeah. Let me smooth your day out.
Y'all might be a little too young for this, but you have a very Red Shoe Diaries voice, Mike.
I do not.
So you need to Google that. She knows what it is.
Oh yeah.
It was what was the name from?
It's from Showtime. Showtime.
Yeah.
It was our.
Not Skinamax?
Well, it was basically
basically,
a lower
yeah.
grade Skinamax.
Yes, but on Showtime.
It was very romantic-ish.
Romantic.
Can't
get any girls on the phone to talk to me. I don't know.
You know what? I got to keep this one because it's probably the last one I'll ever get anyway. So,
Value.
I always told her if I ever cheated on her, family reunions would be weird because she got a lot of smoking cousins. So,
You're still not their type. You're not even my type.
yeah, I'm not a lot of people's type. But anyway, all right, fellas, I appreciate you guys.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having us.
Thank you for being on the podcast, and we'll get back together soon.
Absolutely.
Especially when you guys get the next phase of MedDrip going.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
I'd love to put you on and hear about it and share it with people. So I think it's important service what you provide to people, and the more people that know, and I think the better. And again, there's no price too steep for your health. Especially when you start to consider the alternatives of going into an ER. And getting the same kind of service. To a certain extent, but it's definitely worth spending a little bit of money on that, and instead of spending a whole lot of money on something else. Again, coming from a fat out of shape guy, I saw a meme or something once a long time ago. One of the ladies that used to work with us, her name's Lisa Jaster. She had posted something that said something to the effect of, you can either make time for your health now or be forced to make time for your sickness later.
Wow. Yeah.
And that when you start thinking of things like that, it's
Rings true.
yeah, definitely.
It hits hard, right?
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you,
for
Mike.
having us, guys.
Thank you,
For sure.
Shannon.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nina. Anyway, thanks again, and thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.